So as devotees are joining, then we can start with Om Agyantimarandasya Panchakalpatrubhyascha Namo Mahavadanyaya and Panchatattva Mahamantra and Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we can say it together, but with the microphones off, probably, though it may work with them on, I'm not sure we're speaking. So Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvije Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhara Shri Vasari Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shila Gurudev Shila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shila Guru Maharaj Shila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shila Prabhupada Shila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. And Jai Bhagavan Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. And all of our super exalted Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Vaga Ki Jai. And of course, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Panchatattva, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Shri Vas, Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Panchatattva Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Govinda Govinda. So tell me, what have you all brought today, or what would you all like to draw today? Draw, not with a pen and paper, but draw in the sense of bring out. You can put up your digital hands, you can put up your physical hands. Chintamani.
Maharaj.
Varun is our friend. Okay, thanks Chintamani for introducing. Varun is our friend, new to the Sangha. All right, Varuna, welcome. If anything sounds unusual to you, I mean, lots of it may do, but do ask. We try to be here together, and you will find that you are in friendly association. You are with good people. They're all vegetarian. They all follow very perfectly humility, tolerance, giving honor to others, and not wanting honor for themselves. Govinda Land has joined us. Govinda Land is in central Ukraine, in the middle of almost nowhere in the countryside, in a sweet little village.
Maharaj, we're approaching Shivaratri. So can you say something about the glories of Lord Shiva?
We can say something about the glories of Lord Shiva. And okay, so Chintamani, first of all, I think Praneshwari can very easily give you the pranam mantras. I think she has it already. So yeah, she'll let you see where those are. Those three that we said, by the way, before the Panchatattva Mahamantra, they're very essential, if you like, essential pranam mantras to the Guru, to the Vaishnavas, to Mahaprabhu. All right. So about Shiva, well, Shivaratri is coming up, and essentially Shiva, he is, okay, let's start from the very basics. First of all, Shiva is in our world practically inconceivable. And Guru Maharaj said that the Shiva Tattva is very difficult for us to understand. because Shiva has his different aspects. So Shiva, he has his aspect of managing the destruction, not only of the universe, but the actual the destruction side of the material world. And so he is in charge of, we know, the three modes of nature, the mode of ignorance. And so this sounds like, oh, a terrible job, but somebody has to do it. And Shiva takes on this role. And Shiva takes on various roles according to the requirement of the Lord. Means there are lords, but there is the Supreme Lord. So Shiva, he takes on the charge of the Tamagun, the mode of ignorance. As ignorance, passion, goodness. And Brahma, in general, we see he's looking after the passion, the creative side. Vishnu is looking after the goodness, the preservation side. So Brahma creates, Lord Vishnu maintains, Lord Shiva destroys. And on that note also, a devotee asked to Guru Maharaj, how is it that it appears that the big jobs are to create and to destroy? You know, it's a big effort to create, it's a big effort to destroy. But how is it that Vishnu has like the middle position, which is that of maintaining? And Guru Maharaj explained, actually, it's quick to create, it's quick to destroy. But what takes the continuous, what needs to be there continuously throughout, then that takes a special energy. And this is Vishnu, continuous. So the maintenance part is in the hand of Vishnu. That is, now we're talking about within the Brahmanda, the universe. And the universe being a ball with a hole in the middle. And here we are in the middle of that hole. And there are countless universes. So in each universe, there is a Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And Shiva's post is, you can say, not very relishable in that sense, that he has to look after the destruction, because he himself is very equipoised. He himself, he is basically he's not got any attachment, he's almost without any clothes. And sometimes, as we know from the songs and the descriptions, when he's chanting and dancing, he forgets even about his clothes fall off. So he's actually very detached, but he has a duty to do. And Shiva, we see also, he's always in meditation. So he's meditating, but meditating on whom? This we have to also think. And this also Parvati thought, his wife, Shiva's wife, is thinking, who are you meditating on? I see you are always in meditation like this. And he explained, oh, I'm meditating on Vishnu. And then we've heard this from both Guru Maharaj and Gurudev. It's recorded too in the books, etc. And then Parvati became a little sad. She said, oh, I thought I was worshipping the Supreme, but there's more Supreme than you. There's Vishnu there. And then Shiva said one verse to Parvati saying, yes, but Vishnu himself is saying that, yes, I am Supreme, but higher than the devotee of me is the devotee of my devotee in this way. And then Parvati became happy because she saw, okay, I am the devotee of the Lord's devotee in this sense. So anyhow, this is taking place within this Brahmanda, this manifestation of Shiva. But we'll just step from here, which is the material plane where we are. But Shiva also has his eternal position in the upper world, and not only on the outside of the upper world, but as a confidential gatekeeper of the rasa dance in Goloka Vrindavan. And there we have Gopeshwara Shiva. And he is there protecting the gopis, but he's there in lady form, because nobody except for Krishna can come to that Rasa Leela, can come to that area at all, unless they're in a lady form. So also there is that very confidential aspect of Lord Shiva. And then in between, then there's various ways in which Shiva is manifested. So how can we understand this is all possible? We can understand it as Brahma has given in the Brahma Samhita, in his prayers in the Brahma Samhita, that Shiva is non-different from Krishna, but there is some transformation, and gives the example of milk to yogurt. Yogurt is nothing but milk, but it is a transformation of milk. And it's not that yogurt can then become milk. Its origin is the milk. So in this way, then we see there are different aspects of Shiva. Now, especially for us, for our family, then we understand that, first of all, Guru Maharaj, he worshipped Shiva, a particular Shiva called Bururaj Shiva, a very powerful Shiva deity in West Bengal. It's between Navadip and Hapanyar, and then when you go up the road, you turn left. But anyhow, we know where is that deity. With Gurudev, we visited that deity. But we know that Gurudev worshipped Lord Shiva as the Mahadev, the greatest of the gods. And also so that's Guru Maharaj. And Gurudev, Govinda Maharaj, then his parents worshipped that same Lord Shiva, in fact, to get a son. And so also Guru Maharaj sometimes told that Gurudev is Shiva's son. And there are many things which are connected in that pastime of Gurudev's birth and Gurudev's relationship with Lord Shiva. And Gurudev, when he was manifesting Govinda Kund, when he was revealing Govinda Kund, then also very sweetly he said, and I have some debt to Lord Shiva. I owe everything, my life, everything, I have some debt to Shiva. Then there we'll make a temple. But this is my service to Shiva, he told. It is my service to Shiva, and who will be there? What Shiva will be in this temple will be Sada Shiva. And Sada Shiva is the Shiva of the spiritual world, not the Shiva that is attractive to some in this material world because of his particular behavior and accepting all sorts of gifts which normally we would not be offering to Lord Vishnu. So Shiva in the spiritual world, Sada Shiva, the pure Shiva, who's holding the Ganges water, everything pure Vaishnava Shiva, he's holding that foot water from Lord Vishnu on his head in great joy. This Shiva, Gurudev established there. And Gurudev, also about Śrīśivaratri, which is coming up just now, which is how the question came. Gurudev said, I shall establish here Sada Shiva, and the regular people, they will be coming to worship Shiva, because on Śrīśivaratri, they're coming to a Shiva temple, and they're always, dressing up, bringing offerings and everything, and pouring themselves some yogurt and water and all these mixtures as abhishek to the Shiva Lingam. And Gurudev said, I'm installing here Sada Shiva, but the general populace, they'll be coming and they'll be worshipping Shiva for all their personal prayers that they do at Śrīśivaratri, that, I want this, Shiva, please help me. But he said, but in this way, they will come, but they will get sukriti, they will get extra benefit because they're actually worshipping Sada Shiva here, not anything of this material world. So they will get Agyata Sukriti, in particular, by this worship of Shiva. And Gurudev told about, very sweetly about this temple. I am making this temple. Not that he's setting an example, as it were. Oh, look, here's Shiva. That every temple will then also install a Shiva temple as well. Actually, Gurudev made it clear that's not what he's doing here. He's repaying his debt to Lord Shiva in some way. Hare Krishna, and here is Shiva. Hare
Maharaj,
Krishna.
can you please tell us how Ganga comes to the world?
Ah, so you want a children's story, is it? It's not a children's story. It's a fully grown-up adult story. It's for all of us. But of course, these stories all translate or we get amended into beautiful children's stories. And actually, there's a child inside us all which loves these beautiful stories. But these aren't just made-up stories. These are Leela of the Lord. So, okay, well, I can pass this to, who shall I pass this to? Who would like to tell the story of Vamana Dev?
I think Kumkum Didi knows the story very well.
I expect a lot of you know the story quite well. Chintamani Dasi, nobody. We want to hear you. Oh, no. We can hear happily Chintamani Didi from, I know Praneshwari is bubbling over to say it as well. But Paramananda was volunteered Kumkum, and we always like to give Kumkum an opportunity to speak because she is our senior most devotee too here. And in the meantime, welcome, Sevarupa Devidasi joined us, Ekadashi Devidasi joined us, and I think everybody else, well, Nirupama we didn't mention, but we mentioned Govindaland when you joined. So welcome to you all, Dandavat. Oh, Sevarupa in the dark. Oh yes, in the dark, because now the summer is getting shorter.
We've got no electricity.
No electricity. Oh, just see. Just see. Johannesburg, a little Indian too. Electricity going. Okay, so we're just going to hear something. It doesn't have to be a very big story, but the essence, the glories of the Ganges and Shiva holding the Ganges. How did it come to be, Kumkum Devi Dasi?
Actually, Maharaj, I feel very unqualified to speak on this. Paramananda Prabhu, you please forgive me. But Ganga Devi is coming at the request of when Bali, and please correct me where I'm wrong, not if I'm wrong. He is asking for the Lord to put his foot on his head, and therefore Ganga Devi will come to this world, but there is concern that she will pierce everything. She will come too quickly, and the weight of coming all the way from the heavenly planets, it will disrupt the whole system of the planetary system, and therefore she, Ganga Devi, Lord Shiva collects her waters on his head, and this aborts the extreme force, and so it slows down somewhat.
Okay, yes, we've got some idea. And so what actually, what we hear, we understand is that it was the Leela between Bali Maharaj and Vamana, the dwarf, and the dwarf begged 3 steps of land. And as he is becoming, instead of a dwarf, becoming very, very big, then he kicked, first step, he took part, and then the second step, and then the third step there was no space left. And so he cracked the covering of the universe. We mentioned a little earlier, we're inside a ball with a thick covering. And with that crack, that water came down from Vamanadev's foot. It cracked the universe and the water has come through.
Okay.
And it is also, so this is the water from the causal ocean has come through the, what's the name of the river, Paramananda Prabhu? The river between the material and the upper world?
The Viraja?
The Raja River Maharaj, yes.
Yes, the Viraja River. Sometimes said the causal ocean, sometimes the Viraja River. That water has come onto Vamanadev's foot, and as foot wash of the Lord, it has descended into the universe. But that power of that water then would destroy the universe, because how much water, if you think of putting in something into the bathtub or something, and then you've got something small inside, it's just going to rush inside and everything will be destroyed. And then Shiva, which again gives another aspect of his inconceivable nature, he volunteers and he says, okay, I'll take the force of that big force, I'll take on my head, and then she'll flow gently down through the universe. So again, another inconceivable aspect of Shiva, that he's so great in the sense of, great power, that he can take that otherwise would destroy the universe force of the water on his head, and then the Ganges comes down through the planetary systems, in fact, and flows down through the earth here.
Maharaj,
Mhm.
does that mean the Viraja and the Ganga in the spiritual world, is the Mandakini, are the same? The Viraja?
I'm not 100% sure that we can say that. I've heard, and we can do some checkup, some homework. And if Parananda or somebody knows for sure right now, but as far as I know, I've heard both the causal ocean, and I've also heard the river. What's the river called again?
Viraja.
Viraja, yeah, the Viraja River. I've heard both ways, so I'm not very sure. We'd have to look at the words of Guru Maharaj or Gurudev, or the scripture on this. But wherever the water has come from, it's the foot wash of Lord Vishnu. This is the thing. So the Ganges, when we bathe the deities, and then like Janmastami time and different times, we bathe the deities, and then the devotees very eagerly take that water that the deities have been standing in, or that have washed the deities. The Ganges the whole Ganges is that foot wash. And I believe it was Professor Sanyal who, when he was a young boy in the village, then his father would do puja, and he would see that his father takes his panchapatwa, the small pot, with a spoon, and he sprinkles 3 drops or a few drops of that water, and then considered that the whole altar and the temple room and yourself, by sprinkling a drop or 2 on your head, that everything is pure. And then, so he had much regard for this Ganges water. And he'd heard from his father, he would keep it in a pot, and they'd use it very carefully. Then one day, as a young boy, he went with his father, and they needed to cross the Ganges on a boat. And he said that, oh, and I remember that very well. My father took me to the bank of the Ganges and said, oh, this is the Ganges. And then he said, to me, this was amazing. That pot, that just a few drops of water and everything is completely purified. Here is a river of that. Here is a whole mass of this foot wash of the Lord, this Ganges water that can purify everything. So that Ganges water taken on the head of Lord Shiva. So just think, if 1 or 2 drops can do everything, Shiva is taking that whole water. And how is he taking it? On his head. As we are taking things on our head in respect, he's taking it on his head. For how much wonder is there?
Maharaj, there's another version of Ganga descent story in Navadvip Tham Mahatmya, told by Nityananda Prabhu.
Yeah.
The King Bhagirath story and his ancestors.
Yeah.
Yes, that's another version. And in Gurudev's words, everything is possible. But when we hear it, I mean, we hear it from the Puranas about King Bhagirath, or how Vamanadev, he punctures the coverings of the material world, and then the river flows out of there. So all of them are beautiful. And I think, like Lord, have this multi-layered pastimes. They're not the same. They're always new, Nava-Yovanam, always fresh, always some changes. I mean, that's the job of the Yoga Maya. And Baladev, of course. So they're supplying everything, then the Yoga Maya orchestrating everything. So Ganga, being that spiritual, I mean, divine entity, divine personality, she also performs different pastimes of descent on this planet, on this earth. Bhagirath is also a very fascinating story, because he was worried about his ancestors who were burned to ashes by Kapila Dev's tejas. Because Kapila Dev was meditating, and then his ancestor, he sends his, I think, sons, or something like 50,000, I remember. Some big numbers mentioned there. And then the simple-heartedly go in front of Kapila Dev and offering some prayers. And then at some moment, Kapila Dev, he's disturbed by those prayers a little bit, so he doesn't know what's going on, who is there. He opens his eyes, and that power, by the power of the accumulated, we call it tejas normally, all the ancestors are burned to ash in an instant. And then Bhagirath, he's thinking, oh, what should I do for them? How can I make their future more, even though it's Kapila Dev, it's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one of his avatars, he did that. I mean, they're good. But anyway, so Ganga needs the reason, the Lords need the reason to reveal these pastimes. And then, as you know, he meditates for Ganga to descend on that particular spot where their ashes are scattered, and understanding that it's going to be too much of an impact, like Kumkum Didi mentioned. He starts doing austerities and praying to Lord Shiva, who is known as Ashutosh, easy to satisfy by devotion. And then Lord Shiva, he says, okay, I will take the Ganga on my head. And as you know, Maharaj, Gurudev called Shiva in our temple Gangadhar Mahadev. The beautiful, beautiful name. And underlying the aspect of, there's a Bhakta Shiv and Bhog Shiv. So like you were saying, when the milk become some kind affected by the culture of yogurt, it becomes yogurt. So it's not the milk anymore, even though the source is the same, the qualities are very different. So at some point in one of his talks, Srila Guru Maharaj, he explains, when Shiva comes in touch with material creation, his guna avatar duties, the Sada Shiva, that moment when he expends himself in the material world, he becomes, I think this is Guru Maharaj's explanation, contaminated somehow. So he becomes the Bhog Shiva who has some duties here in this material world. And there's a Sada Shiva who is a pure Shiva. And in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, we hear the explanation how Shiva Loka is located not in this world, it's not out of material world, it's almost in the Vaikunthas, but a very unique position, the Tatastha position. One of the unique tattvas. We hear from our Guru Varga, Shiva Tattva, Guru Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and something else, maybe, Maharaj? Some other inconceivable, Dham Tattva. And on Dham subject, as you mentioned, in Vrindavan, there are 4 Mahadevs. We remember them, Maharaj? Gopeshwar, Chakraleshwar, and then?
Bhuteshwar and
Bhuteshwar.
And Kameshwar? Something
maybe
like that.
Kameshwar, yeah. So they act as a Dham Rakak, the protectors of the Dham. And then in that Pranam mantra that Gurudev composed, he's underlying what is our vision of Shiva in general. So Gurudev making the point how we should see Lord Shiva. And that's the Pranam mantra for our Gangadhar Mahadev. Devadi Deva Mahibhushanam Indukasham. He said, he is the Deva of the Devas. He is the king of all Devas. But how does he look like? He's decorated with the snakes. And his body is shining like moons. Panchananam Pashupachim Varadam Prashanam. He has 5 mouths. He's holding Pashupata weapon. And he is very easy to be satisfied and give all sorts of benedictions. Here we go. Gangadharam Pranatapalakam Ashutosham Vande Sadashiva Hari Priya Chandramolim. So Srila Gurudev underlines that. Vande Sadashiva. So we're all, worshipping the Bhakta Shiv, and who is also Hari Priya, who is very dear to the Lord. So that Shiv we're worshipping. A beautiful, beautiful pranam mantra.
Devadi Devam Mahibhushanam Indukasham Panchananam Pashapating Varadam Prasannam Gangadharam Pranatapalakam Mashutosham Vande Sadashiva Hari Priya Chandramaulim.
Chandramaulim.
And this is what we chant when we come in front of Lord Shiva. And in Vrindavan is Gopeshwar Shiva deity. And right near to Bansi Vat, where Krishna calls all the gopis to come to dance. And Shiva has other aspects too. I mean, one of them we hear about in a well, whatever way we hear about is not Shankashan. Prabhu, help me out. It's early in the morning. Shankaracharya.
Yes, Shankaracharya.
Shiva. And he's coming again to do duties. He gets the jobs to do that, you know, like they're not necessarily the most pleasant jobs. But Shankaracharya, he comes, and by the instruction of Lord Narayan, of Lord Vishnu, to come in order to baffle the people. In order, he has a purpose, and another other purpose is to re-establish the scripture. So in the bigger picture, then Shiva is preparing the environment for the arrival of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these are all inconceivable things. And actually, as Paramananda Prabhu pointed out, Shiva Tattva, Guru Maharaj told, it is beyond our understanding. But still, we are very happy to hear about these things, because although many things are beyond our understanding, just hearing about them, it's their glories. We can chant the glories of the ununderstandable. That is also, that's our duty to do so, and we are happily doing so.
And also, interestingly, Maharaj, when we're reading about Sri Chaitanya's Mahaprabhu's tour to South India, practically in every shloka describing places he visited, there is a mentioning of Lord Shiva temple and how Mahaprabhu was happy dancing in those temples, visiting those temples, offering his respects to his devotee, the Hari Priya Shiva.
And Shiva is Mahadev, the greatest of the Devas. You've heard of the Maha Mantra, greatest of the mantras. Well, here we have Mahadev, greatest of the Devas. But that's one aspect of him, because as we said, he's the pure Shiva in the upper world. So our puppy brain, somebody brought this up the other day, our puppy brain. And I forget who brought it up, but that was Guru Maharaj's expression. You see little puppies, they're running around here, there, and how much deep can they think? And here we are, still trying to find some enjoyment of, oh, I'll be happy if this, whatever it may be. Our puppy brains trying to capture these things. We know we can't, but we're happy.
And then, in other pastimes is when he is taking the poison after the churning of the ocean, because no one knew it was so strong. No one knew how to dispose of it. So that's how he became a Nilakanta.
Nila. Kanta is, Kantimala, the neck. And so the Nilakanta, the blue-necked, blue-throated.
And it resembles a jewel, the bluish reflected, and it was just like a jewel. And in my puppy brain, I was so attracted to that I named Mahamantra Mahadev. His passport name is Mahadev. And then Gurudev, when he gave him the initiation, he became Mahamantra.
And Mahamantra is Praneshwari's tall son. Tall, humble, devoted son. A very good, we like to say very good boy because we know him like a boy, but now he's a grown man and very responsible in the world. Very wonderful.
But Maharaj, there is one more event that is coming up tomorrow, and that is Yudamanyu Prabhu's disappearance day, which is very auspicious. He left this world on the Shivaratri day. So maybe you can say words in glorifying Yudamanyu Prabhu.
We can. And just one more thing comes to mind, which I was wanting to say a little earlier about describing about Shiva, just before we come to Yudamanyu Prabhu, which we're very happy to do. That is that we know that Krishna, Govinda, Nrsingadev, Narayan, Vamanadev, we know that Vishnu, Krishna, he can manifest in all sorts of ways simultaneously and do all sorts of things. We understand this from the 10 principal avatars, but so many other ways in which he manifests his potencies and energies. And so Shiva being non-different from Krishna except as a transformation, as we've heard from Brahma Samhita, as we were mentioning earlier, that transformation of milk to yogurt, he can do many things simultaneously. So we mustn't limit him to our limited capacity. He's not of our nature, not of our tiny capacity. So when Krishna can do so many things, he can also do so many things. And this is why it is very inconceivable to describe like fully, oh yes, Shiva, and obviously he can do this in the spiritual world while doing these destructive things in the material world. All these opposites can be accommodated when we understand. Where's he getting everything from? Who is he? He's a transformation of actually Govinda, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Ultimately, the sweet, loving Lord Govinda. And Shiva is soft-hearted.
And like Maharaj, you mentioned about him being admitted into Braja Lila as the protector of the Rasa Stali, the place where the Rasa dance is performed in the form of the Gopi. So there is another verse that is kind of making it clear about his position. And the verse is about what is actually happening in the Loka Vrindavan. What kind of divine ecstatic emotions the residents of Galoka they have towards the Lord? What is their service? So, and in that verse is also coming from Shiva. Shiva making a statement. He says, "Aham with me, Shukoviti, Vyasa Vitona Vetiva." I know what is happening there. Shukadev knows because it came through him. So Lord revealed those pastimes to him so that he can spread them, he can propagate them to others. But Vyasadev, I am not sure about it. he may know or may not know. That I cannot say. Yeah. It is in the hands of the Lord. So it's also show us the position of Lord Shiva, I mean, who he is, like you just said.
Jai. All right, and no doubt more things will be said over these coming days. And Shivaratri is coming up. And also, just because there is a note there on the Matt's calendar, I know, that says like optional fast. And really it is optional fast. But we can say, that Gurudev, he was not in favor of fasting. So please don't feel that you have to fast, but you do have to glorify Shiva in his Vaishnava aspect, greatest devotee, and this way give honor to Lord Shiva. So, but we are not actually fasting, at least not in the association of Gurudev in Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, just to let you know. And it's a happy day in India. It is all over. It's an all India festival. Our India is great. Why is our India? Because by the way, those of you who don't know, as written on the back of so many trucks. And you do kind of tend to sit behind trucks quite often in India. So it's written on the back of the trucks. Our India is great. Yes, but it's great because of its spiritual greatness, not its greatness of keeping everything clean and spick and span. All right, let us move on to Yudamanyu Prabhu Seva Vikram. Yes, that's how Guru Dev liked. This is the proper way to address him. Shripad Yudamanyu Prabhu Seva Vikram. And his name was Yudamanyu Prabhu, and his title, so given a title by Gurudev of Seva Vikram. And in honor of the Seva that he was doing, and I'd have to just myself quickly look up Vikram to know the meaning of that. But every title that Gurudev gave, it was for a purpose. Oh, here's a chivalry for Vikram. The powerful.
But this can also be interpreted as.
Oh, sorry?
Yes. Yes, these are all right. There are many interpretations, as you know, but it is also can be interpreted as the one with every step he performs seva. With every deed in his life, he is doing seva. So with every breath, he's doing the seva for the Lord. So that kind of explanation was also given.
And glorious, powerful. I mean, this I'm seeing consistently there. And 3 Vikram, yeah, 3 mighty steps in conquering. Oh my goodness. So Gurudev gave that title to Yudamanyu Prabhu because, and okay, now guess why? Because he was very powerful in his seva. And he did seva, and Jivana Devidasi is the one who can give us the best history of him. But I can just say briefly as like an introduction, and that today maybe just going to be short because of our running time. But he was, I know him from when he was doing seva in South Africa. And then Jivana will know better than me all the activities he did. But in South Africa, he's distributing Guru Maharaj's conception. He's introducing Guru Maharaj's conception in South Africa. Oh, so where's our Seva Rupa? So Seva Rupa, is she with us? Oh, no more. Well, they have no electricity. And oh, yes, you're there. Okay.
She's here. She's here.
So the whole of South Africa, it's got its introduction to Krishna, to Guru Maharaj's Krishna consciousness, you can say, to our family. That's come very largely from the very foundation of Yudamanyu Prabhu. And then he came to California, and I know there are lots of steps in between, so many things he did. But wherever he went, then when he came to Guru Maharaj and coming to Gurudev, then all he's asking is, what do you want me to do? He's not saying, I'm going to do this, please give me your blessings, but rather, what do you want me to do? And this continued all the way through his service in California, where he led the San Jose ashram, where Kumkum is right now, where he was like one of the key figures there. And he managed the big collection party, the collection party for America, the collection party that collected for Navadip, and did so many services there. And then presently came to Thailand as a teacher, then to China, and came to China as a teacher, means a university lecturer in English. And he brought Guru Maharaj's conception to China. So Lilavati, and everybody in China, we all are indebted to the heart preaching, the heart distribution of Gurudev and Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada by Yudamanyu Prabhu. And he passed away on this day in China, as Gurudev liked the expression, in harness, that he was doing seva to the last moment. Now, really, we need to pass the microphone to Jivana Didi. Oh, in auspicious visit to China. Hare Krishna. Oh yes, this is a this is an international visit to China by our devotees. Jivana Didi, would you like to say a few words for us? You know Jivana, the husband of Yudamanyu Prabhu, and so she knows him better than all of us. But I know him from Gurudev and Guru Maharaj's side, and so we're very happy to chant his glories and very happy to share a room with him and be with him and to be counted as, by his grace, one of his friendly friends, you can say. So very honored by all of that.
Maharaj, before Jivana Didi starts glorifying Yudamanyu Prabhu, there's one thing I wanted to add. Like you say, he spread Guru Maharaj's word in South Africa. But on the way from South Africa, and I heard that story, and Jivana Didi can verify that, on the way to South Africa, he's going to see Guru Maharaj. So he's passing through the airport and he's in a waiting lounge or something. So he's meeting a man from Mauritius. Indian man, Mauritius Indian man. And through his preaching, a very short, I don't know how much he spent in that lounge, an hour or 2 hours, but somehow he's speaking to him. And this is how later the Mauritian mission manifested, because that man was so impressed that he came to see Guru Maharaj and become his disciple. I forgot his name, but Jivana Didi can remind us about that too. So not just South Africa, China, but also Mauritius, and of course, United States of America.
Over to you, Jivana. Please, but you have to unclick the, yes.
Yeah, so it's doesn't even need to be said how supremely unqualified I am. Completely worthless, and and somehow or other Krishna gave me that opportunity this lifetime. But so I'm not going to say much because it takes me a long time to dredge things out of this old computer up here in my brain. But I just know that he just really loved all the devotees so much, and really melted a heart when he would see you guys, with you and Paramananda Prabhu and all the devotees, Ashram Maharaj. But I would just say, in the big picture of things, it really is true that Yuda was like a man on a mission. He just he always would just look forward to seeing what Gurudev would want from him. Genuinely, even to this day, it's been some years, I just realized that I never have that. I really genuinely don't have that. And I'm just appreciating so much how he really had that. That was really his life. And he was very melted-hearted that way for Gurudev always, and wanted to just be dedicated to Gurudev and to his mission. And that's what he did. And when the years that he did China, he did 13 years in China. Even when he would come back here, because you have to come back and forth all the time because of the visa thing, and he would always be thinking about what he could do, and he would always ask Gurudev, "Do you want me to go back to China, Gurudev?" And Śrī Śivaratri Prabhu would tease him. He would say, "Yuda, of course he wants you to go back to China." And then Yuda would always say, "Well, you never know. Things change. I have to know what Gurudev really wants me to do this." And then only one other thing that I'll just mention is, one time the devotees were there and they were asking Yuda about his experiences with Gurudev. And someone said, "So what was your best experience? What would you say was your best experience with Gurudev?" And Yuda said, "Maybe that's still yet to come." And we were all kind of astonished by that answer. That was like such a sweet answer and so encouraging to everybody. So maybe the best is yet to come. So yeah. But anyway, I just have dandavats to all of you devotees, and especially those that knew Yudamanyu Prabhu, and how much affection he really genuinely has for you.
And Jivana Didi.
Deva Vikram ki jai.
Jai.
Jivana Devi Rasi ki jai, who very bravely has said something to us, because of course it's an emotional time to miss Yudamanya Prabhu. And I'd just like to say something for Jivana said. Yudamanya Prabhu was a natural devotee. I mean, he wasn't sort of, oh, how does a devotee behave? I'll try to behave like that. He was just a natural devotee. And he was just affectionate. As Jivana said, he was just affectionate. He would be so happy and appreciative amongst the devotees. And he was always so fearful, actually fearful, you could say, of making offenses. And he comes in Mahananda. Was that all right? We were together with Gurudev, was Gurudev happy? Was Gurudev happy? Did I say the right thing? And like he was like, he's so responsible, so capable, a leader, like so many things. But really, genuinely, he just didn't want to make any offense to anybody. And, especially to Gurudev, and did I behave rightly? And actually in Yudamanya Prabhu's association, it reminds us the greatn's of Gurudev, because how much he knows that like Gurudev is the master, like the master with a capital THE. And anyway, his dealings, his whole manner was just so genuine and or genuine in America, sorry for the Americans, genuine, and just a wonderful devotee to be around. He was infectious. You could become infected by staying near Yudamanya Prabhu, infected with that sweet, devotional, genuine mood.
Maharaj, I remember when he was bringing the Chinese devotees, and sometimes they were just friends. Like he would take some devotees who really wanted to see Srila Gurudev to Bangkok, because it was very difficult for Chinese to go to India then. So Thailand was very easy. So Gurudev was in Thailand. Yudamanya would always bring anything between 5 to 10 devotees. And half of them will be just friends who heard that their friends from university going to Thailand, going for a trip. So I remember he would just bring him. I say, oh, how wonderful. We're going to arrange. I mean, we're going to talk to Gurudev, going to be initiation. I said, no, Prabhu, half of them, they have no clue where they're, what are we doing? And so I'm going to give them to you because you're the communist at heart. So they are communists at heart, so you guys can understand each other. But I expect from you that at the end of this week, they all should get initiated. And actually, this is what always would happen. And really, not because of my association, because Yudamanya was so protective. He was like a grandfather, a father with a bunch of babies. So their heart will be just melted. And of course, they will see Srila Gurudev. They will see how sweet relationship between him and Srila Gurudev. And that's it. That was it. Once start getting initiation, there was a chain reaction. Sometimes it takes 3 days of continuous initiations. Because one, it's like a candle. You light one candle and then you can light more candles. So it was really literally like that.
Jai, that sounds like you, Ramanya Prabhu. I'm extremely happy just to remember him, and I'm remembering him in different circumstances, different times, different rooms. The old veranda of Gurudev in Dum Dum Park, the new veranda of Gurudev in Dum Dum Park, Navadip. This is where I know Yudamanya only from India. I mean, nowhere else, only from, in India, we're not really concerned with India, we're concerned with Gurudev and Guru Maharaj.
And then Maharaj, one last thing I wanted to say. One day, Yudamanya invited me to come to Shenzhen. It's a Gaura Purnima day. He said, Paramananda, come to Shenzhen, we'll do Gaura Purnima festival. I said, Yuda, but what are we going to do? There is nothing in there. He said, I have one devotee here. There is some apartment, so we're going to arrange for something. So we came, and then Jayavati was there. And she said, hey guys, I arranged for a public program. I said, Yuda, public program in the communist China, excuse me? Where is it? And it was in the subway. There was an Indian restaurant. And next to Indian restaurant, there was a space. So literally, there are like thousands, if not millions of people just passing by. And that's where we're supposed to have a program. And I said, Yuda, okay. You're old. They probably let you go, but I'm still young. And they're going to lock me up for a really long time. He said, Prabhu, isn't that wonderful? to suffer for seva, to sacrifice yourself for the Mahaprabhu's message. So let's do it. And I was so inspired. I said, okay, Yudhamanya, let's do it. And we did it, and it was amazing. So he started speaking, and we invited some people. And originally there were about 30 people maybe. But because people were passing by and we started doing kirtan, that hall was packed. There were like hundreds of people. And of course, I was looking at it. I was going, that's it. Okay, so let's just say as much as we can now before we get ourselves into trouble. But Yudhamanya was totally, happy, didn't pay any attention to what was going outside. He was just preaching, talking to the devotees. And at some point we had to split because there's so many people. So we split and we had these groups, and we had to, talk to a certain groups of people. And there was a constant flow of those people. And that was amazing. And it was actually the first ever public program like that, which was very spontaneous. And that's where Indumukhi came from.
Jai. Well, I think that's the first time I've ever heard that. That's really so like inspirational. And again, like our brave, but brave in the sense of he's only thinking like spiritually, and he knows Krishna is going to protect. Hare Krishna. And also Lilavati put a note in here that also Sita came from that.
Yes, Sita got initiated the next day on Jagannath Mishra's feast day. It just happened there. Also Vrinda, remember Vrinda from Shenzhen?
Yes.
So when we finished the program, some people, they got so attracted, they just tailed us till the apartment, and they just hang with us for the rest few days we stayed there. We couldn't get rid of them. They would just come every day and ask questions and eat prasad and just be around the devotees. So it did happen. And this, when the Yudhamanya gives Sita initiation, it wasn't that flat that Javati arranged. Belonging to whom, I have no idea.
Maybe Lilavati herself may like to say something. You're cooking.
Maharaj, just one last...
Don't catch
one last thing I wanted to say.
But say a word or two, Lilavati.
Maharaj, I just want to share 2 weeks ago, we are with Chongqing girls, Sita and Sarah devotees, Yoda students. We have a little celebrate for Yudhamanya Prabhu and Indumukhi also. So that's very sweet. We try to share everything we know about Yoda. Of course, most is like his beloved students, and it's very heart melt, like talks, very sweet. And we all share how sweet Yoda is. And suddenly, when Sita sharing, Sita said, well, for me, Yoda is my boss. And he's very straight to Sita, but he always says, Sita, you are the best, you can do it. That's like, step by step, Sita become the leader of now the Chongqing mission, Chinese mission. And actually they do quite successful, like Sita bought property and they have their own base for the program. So we are very inspired every time to see the Chongqing girls. And I think they have the real Yudhamanya's quality in their blood, in their behavior. Even they cannot sing so much, they don't know the scripture so much, but that's very inspired.
Jai. Jai Shri Chongqing Devotee Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All right. Paramanandu, many thanks for keeping us, reminding us that Shivaratri and Yudhamanya Prabhu, Shivaratri coming and Yudhamanya Prabhu's disappearance day means for special remembrance for him, because this is, which day is it? Today is 11th, and which day is this?
Tomorrow, Maharaj.
Or tomorrow?
The 12th, yeah.
12th,
tomorrow.
Okay, so remember, yes, America is one day behind. So it's the 12th.
And this is our religion, Maharaj, glorifying the Vaishnavas. And both are Vaishnavas.
Yes. One is Mahadev and one is Maha devotee.
Seva
Of
Vikram.
our generation, right? The victorious, a strong Vikram. Seva Vikram, Gurudev gave. All right, dear devotees, happy to have you with us. And Varun, your first time with us, but at least you can understand that we've actually got wonderful masters, and we are with wonderful co-students. We are all students of our beautiful masters, and we've got a beautiful family. So maybe you don't understand so much, but you're very welcome to hear these topics. And here we are not going to talk anything of the mundane things of the world. The world is full of that. But here we want to try to remind ourselves to keep our head out of the gutter and in the upper sphere. We have a higher aspiration by the grace of our gurus, our spiritual teachers.
Thank you.
All right, welcome, Prabhu.
Thank you.
And Narayani joined us. Narayani, you joined us just at the end. You came for prasadam, is it?
Yes, Dandavats.
Yes, okay. Well, who's been cooking? We need to share. All right, Narayani, welcome. And to all who are here, the clock is ticking. Very happy day in remembrance of Lord Shiva and in remembrance of Yudamanya Prabhu. And all of this is in remembrance of Gurudev and Guru Maharaj, in remembrance of our good fortune to be connected. Jai Śrī Śivaratri coming up, ki jai. Śrī Yudamanya Prabhu Seva Vikram Prabhu ki jai. And jai Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakok Sridhar Maharaj ki jai. And jai Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Vaga ki jai. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the Lord ki jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai, and all the worldwide devotees ki jai. Our present day Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Vrinda ki jai, and Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bo.
Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat, wishing you special days, special serviceful days. And we'll see you soon. Thank you for being with us. Netai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bo.
Thank you for your association, Maharaj.
Gaura Gaura. Thank you, each of you. And Paramananda Prabhu's very substantial, sweet contribution, Jivana's contribution, everybody, Kum Didi contributing, Lilavati Didi, and all of you contributing by your presence. And we'll hear from you all later. Bye-bye, Kaila.
Dandavats, Maharaj.
Dandavat. Dandavat.